Okay, if there is no water, can anything grow or survive? Remember, humans are made up of 70% water. So, no. It's a big, big, big no. So, again, sorry. So here, it's a no. If it's extremely cold one winter, will that affect whether an animal makes it? No, it won't affect. So, do biotic and abiotic factors affect each other? Yes, they do. So here we have water, and here we have temperature. So, in conclusion, abiotic and biotic do affect each other, even though water and temperature aren't living things, but they do affect living things. So we're going to try to organize the following words into two lists, abiotic and biotic. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to circle abiotic with red, and I am going to circle biotic with green. So let's start with the first one. So first one is just clouds. Clouds are non-living things. So I'm going to circle it with red. Rain is non-living, so it's abiotic. Oxygen is non-living, it's abiotic. Mountain is non-living, so it's abiotic. Sand is not living, so it's abiotic. But then when we have snake, for example, snake is a living thing, so it's biotic. A moss is living, it's a kind of plant, so it's biotic. Leaf is biotic, it's living, it's part of the plant. People are obviously living. Goldfish is obviously living. Sunlight is non-living. Air is non-living, so it's abiotic. Weather is not living, so it's abiotic. Mud is not living, so it's abiotic. Wind is not living, so it's abiotic. The pH of soil is not living, so it's abiotic. A bumblebee is living, so it's biotic. A tulip is a kind of flowers that looks something similar to that thing. So, yes, it is biotic. Raccoon is obviously biotic. Temperature is abiotic. A polar bear is biotic. An earthworm is biotic. Moon is abiotic. Minerals are abiotic. Salamander is a kind of animal, so yes, it is biotic. Gold is a rock, so it's not living, so it's abiotic. Soil is not living, so it's abiotic. Rocks are not living, abiotic. Deer is living, so it's biotic. Volcanoes are not living, so they're abiotic. Climate is not living, so it's abiotic. Ice is not living, so it's abiotic. Lake is water, so it's not living, so it's abiotic. Fire is not living, so it's abiotic. Maple tree is a tree, so it's a living thing, so it's biotic. Eagle is living, so biotic. Corn on the plant is biotic. Raspberry bush is biotic. A cell is biotic. Now we're going to check a cell, a leaf, and corn on the plant. We're going to check those three. So, if we check those three, we'll find that corn on the plant is biotic. We were right about it. Leaf is biotic. We were right about it. And last but not least, a cell. And yes, it was biotic. So even the three that we were not sure of, yes, they were right. They were biotic. They were considered living. Anything considered living is biotic. Anything not considered living is abiotic. Now we're going to talk about the level of organization and ecology. So back to chapter 1, we talked about a cell. And we talked about how cells are the smallest and the most basic unit of living things. Now we're going to talk about the level of organization in ecology. So it all starts with an individual. So we have one organism. And then if we have, so let's write it down, organism. If we have more than one organism, if we have a group of organisms, we call it a population. So if we have two or more of an individual. And then if we have more than one population, so here in this picture we have a population of owls, population of, let's say this is a raccoon, population of wild deer. So we have more than one population living together. This is called a community. If we have more than one community with biotic plus abiotic factors, then we call it an ecosystem. If we have more than one ecosystem, we call it a biome. In chapter 2, we talked about the 6 different biomes we have and the 2 water biomes we have. It was freshwater and seawater. For the 6, examples were grassland, desert, deciduous forest, rainforest, and etc. And all the biomes together make up the biosphere, our Earth. So that's how it goes. Now let's go back to some definitions. Let's define them. So we talked about cells, and we talked about how there's the smallest unit of life. Let's forget about this one. We don't need it. So, organism or an individual, we can call it both individual or organism. They're a living thing, one living thing. It doesn't have to be an animal. It can be a plant, it can be a tree, it can be a flower, it can be a bird, it can be a human being, it can be anything. Population is basically a group of organisms of one type, so they have to have the same type. So here, if we have a bison, then we have a group of bisons, a herd. If we have, let's say, a sheep, we have to have a herd of sheep in population. If we have one human being, we have to have a group of human beings. We have to have a family in the population. Them living in the population, they have to be a group of the same organism that live in the same area. Community, populations that live together in a defined area. So there's a defined area. So we know that those organisms live in an area. So we have more than one kind of population. So here we have the bison, which is the population we talked about here. And then we have a bird population. We have a snake population. We have a hawk, snake, bison, dog, grass. So this community is made up of different populations living in the same area. If we have a community and it's non-living things, so okay, community, we only talked about the living things. the hawk, the snake, the bison, the grass, but we never talked about the non-living things. We never mentioned the rock.